All right, welcome everybody. We are live. Rajiv is with us. He's U.S. immigration lawyer, and today we have some interesting topics to cover. And then, of course, we will be doing regular Q&A. And before we get started, F1 visa course is live. You can go and download it. It's academy.udj.com/F1 visa course. Um, and Rajiv will get started. So I don't know, you probably heard all of this from people. Tesla did the layoff,
Yeah,
and
I got a few
there are people.
calls.
Yeah, so people are on F1, they are on OPT first year, OPT extension, and H1B. So what I want to do is create this resource where Men in Black, someone just said. That's Yeah, I got the memo. So what I want to do is like just walk through three different scenarios and then just talk through what are their options. So first one, I am F1 visa student. I This is my first year of OPT. I was working, and then I got laid off. Like, what's next for me? What are my options?
So if it's H1, the choices and the parameters are different.
Hmm.
But if it is F1, the choices, consequences, and parameters are different.
Hmm.
Let's deal with F1 first.
Hmm.
So when you have F1 OPT or STEM OPT, you have certain days of unemployment you can use and be out of work. 90 days in the first OPT session and 60 days for the next 2 years in STEM OPT. Okay. If you have not used, or whatever you have not used of the first 90 days can be added on to the 60 days of the
Hmm.
STEM OPT. So yesterday I had a call with a Tesla employee. She had not used any of her first year OPT, and she had, which is Tesla. What Tesla has done is there's a gap between when they actually started working until their pay was covered. So they
Yes. Yeah.
covered that. There is really nothing that USCIS has said. You changed your cup. There's nothing that
Today I
USCIS,
did.
yeah, USCIS has said about it's too shiny. USCIS has said about what to do with cases where you are getting paid but not working. Are you still
Hmm.
maintaining status? And the consensus amongst the DSOs seems to be that as a practical matter, government may not want to go and look behind whether you are working or not, as long as you're getting paid. But I have my doubts. I
Hmm.
think the conservative approach is if you get laid off, consider your last working day as your last working day.
Hmm.
Don't take into account the extra couple of months you get with the pay. However,
Hmm.
and this is what I understand the situation to be, if you email your DSO and tell them, look, I'm getting paid till this date and I got laid off on this date. What do we need to do with my service? Okay. Email.
Hmm.
Don't call, email. I want it in writing. Okay. And if the DSO says, look, it's okay, we are going to consider this to be working time
Hmm.
and we're not going to start your 150 days or whatever time is remaining. I think that would be a good approach. I always
Hmm.
tell people I don't engage in academic exercises. I try to find practical solutions.
Hmm.
This is a good practical solution in my mind. Now,
Hmm.
what if you are at the end of that 150-day period and you've not been able to procure a job? Well, obviously, you have two choices. Three, I would say. Broadly, they are in two categories. One is just leaving USA, going to India.
Sorry, how 150 days, 90 days I understand, but
See,
then
90
how's?
days तो पहले OPT का है.
हाँ, ठीक है.
60 days second OPT का है.
Okay.
Let's do the math. 90 plus 60.
Okay. Right. Yeah, yeah. But that's if they are on extension.
Yeah.
But if the first year OPT
First year
में,
OPT का no, their choices are many more. So I'm going to
okay.
get to that later. This is the more
Okay.
difficult situation.
Okay.
अच्छा, अभी क्या है कि now you have been you've discontinued working. So the big debate was whether you start accumulating um, out of work time from the day you stop working or the day after you stop working, or from the date you stop getting paid,
mm,
right? The pay period.
mm,
And I said, be conservative, but double check with your DSO, send them an email if they want to do something about it. Now, if you go to India or your home country, whichever it happens to be, you can still continue applying for your H-1Bs, but you are outside the US. Okay. One of the questions, again asked by another student yesterday, was, can I be in India, use the same visa to come back to a different course? And the
mm,
answer is, I think so.
mm,
Okay. Um, can I roll my service into a new CPT type program? Sure.
mm,
But remember, my advice is always to advance your career, not just an excuse for
mm,
getting work authorization.
mm.
Clear so far?
Yep. Yep.
So when you get laid off, assume the day you stop working is the last day, and then you have the 150-day or whatever time remains. Contact your DSO, let them know the situation. If they say you're okay till the end of the pay period, that's when we begin. That's fine. I also want to add one more thing for
Mm,
students who are on STEM OPT.
mm,
I said that last time that you could actually start working for startups
mm,
and their compensation in kind, if they offer stock, etc., and that's what they're offering other employees as well, should be considered and will be considered by USCIS to be alternate compensation, which meets the requirements of STEM OPT.
mm,
OPT, the first year OPT, no issue because you could be working with or without compensation,
mm,
right?
mm.
As
Yeah.
long as you're working 20 hours in your own field.
Mm,
Okay, so that this is the STEM OPT part. Stay in USA, convert to another status. F1 is a choice and B1, B2 is a choice. If
mm,
you want to convert to B1, B2, go to our website, immigration.com, and look at the top panel where it says Rajiv's blog. Go to my blog, about the fifth or sixth entry talks about how to convert to B1, B2, gives you all the detailed instructions.
mm,
Use those. It is a viable option. It is also a reasonably good option. And it can also be extended for another 6 months. At least you can try. I mean, there's really no
mm,
limit, but I think up to 1 year is reasonable in this environment. Okay. That is, if you want to stay in the US, not go to school, not be tied down to any particular course of action. So one of the questions, another question that was asked of me was yesterday was this, and
mm,
this was from H1 people, but the idea is the same. So I've started a course. I really like the course, but then I got a job. Okay. Can I take up the job and still continue with my course? And the answer is sure. You can
mm,
study on H1B full time or part time. So we kind of combined three different ideas here: first year OPT, STEM OPT, and H1B. All of them have similar options. They can all go back to
mm,
school. They can all look to at least try to extend their time out of work by uh, using the time that is covered by the pay period, right? H1B,
yeah.
though clearly you can, but
Mm,
OPT and STEM OPT, we don't know for sure. Okay. Now, coming back to the easy one, which is OPT, optional practical training,
this is the first year of OPT.
first
Yeah.
year of OPT. Yeah.
Mm,
So, in the first year of OPT, because you can actually work even as an independent contractor or as an unpaid person, as long as they are working in their own field for 20 hours each week and they can document that, you are safe.
mm.
Okay. So, that is the overall picture. Now, another question.
And on the
Oh, no,
independent,
let me cover this before I forget. Can you take
mm,
unemployment? So you got
mm,
laid off. Can you take
mm,
unemployment? Now, that is an issue of state law. Okay.
mm,
Under US immigration law, I don't know of anything that stops you. But what if state law says, because often you are required to be looking for work if you want to keep getting unemployment.
yeah.
But what if your status like H1B, you can't even look for work because you don't have the visa status. So you have to check with the state law what the states allow. OPT, STEM OPT, I think you should be able to as long as you're looking for a job because you have an open market work authorization, right?
Hmm.
H1B, they have to go through the process, the H1B process. So I'm not quite sure what all the 50 state laws are, but I think those are the things that you need to keep in mind. Go ahead, Yudi.
Hmm.
You were saying something.
On the independent contractor, is that something they can also do it on the STEM extension?
No, not on STEM extension. On STEM
Hmm.
extension, you have to have an employer employee relationship. A trickier question is what if I
Okay.
form my own company and I hire myself to my own company? And the answer is,
Hmm.
well, that's probably not employer employee relationship because nobody can fire you. Okay.
Hmm.
But what if you had an independent board of directors and they could fire you? And your bylaws clearly said that they can fire you. I think that might be better, but please don't travel because if you travel, I don't know how it will work out. Arguably, that's sustainable.
Hmm. Hmm. Nice. Okay. Yeah. So cool. So independent contractor on STEM extension not possible, but they could get a job in a consulting firm where they are contracted out to their clients.
First year OPT, yes. STEM OPT, no. If you are
Oh,
being
really?
contracted out, that is 99% of the times not permissible. The 1% of the times it might be permissible is, let's say, Yudi, I'm doing a project for you. You are my end client. And I have my own team working in your premises with my own manager
Hmm.
who's
Hmm.
managing the work. Now, if I place an employee to work there, I'm okay because my manager is supervising.
Hmm. Hmm. What about those contract roles that are available, like 6 months contract, 12 months contract, with the actual company, contract to hire? Are those also not eligible for
No, they
STEM
are
OPD?
because if they get a W-2, yes. On STEM
Okay,
OPT.
gotcha.
1099, you won't be able to. But remember, they
Got
have
it.
to do the 983.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
have to
yeah, yeah.
fill out the forms.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
I
Okay,
think
cool. Now let's
change.
talk about H1B.
H1B, we clearly know that your 60-day grace period begins, and for STEM OPT and OPT, there's no grace period, but there's out of work unemployment period, which we talked about, up to 150 days.
Hmm.
Uh, for H1B, it has been clearly said by the government that they will consider your 60-day grace period to begin from the date your pay period coverage ends. So if I
Hmm.
get a on 15th May, I got a paycheck that covers me till 15th of June, my 60-day grace period will begin on 16th of June, one day after my pay period ends.
Hmm.
Even though I stopped working, even let's say in April, I stopped working. Okay, that is clear. One of the questions that I've been asked, I have a choice between converting to H4, F2, or B1, B2. Which one do
Hmm.
you prefer, Rajiv? And the answer is, if you feel you are going to be able to procure a job within 6 months, B1, B2 may be better because there are certain advantages that
Hmm.
government has expressly created for B1, B2 holders conversion back to H1B when they find work. So,
Hmm.
but if you think there's going to be no job, then H4, and of course, if your husband or wife has already an I-140 approved, which is a lot of people are getting national interest waivers. We are swamped with national interest waivers.
Hmm.
People are getting because they realize one, my spouse will get EAD, and two, I get a priority date, which I can. Plus, my green card is transferable wherever I go if the
Yeah.
NAW is drafted correctly. Okay, so that's. I hope that covers the whole thing.
Yeah. 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 Nice. Okay. Cool. If there are other questions on this topic, please let us know. But I'll take questions. Uh, Second lottery for H1B 2025. I think he meant 2024.
Yeah, I'll let you answer that question.
No one knows that, and we can't predict. But is it probable?
Good question. It might be okay
Hmm.
for
Hmm.
for the reason that the number of applications is not as large as we were expecting it to be.
Hmm.
People win the lottery, but then either they don't have a project because of the wonderful state of hiring in high tech,
Hmm.
and or because the company just doesn't want to do it
Hmm.
uh,
Hmm.
for whatever reason, whether they don't have the budget or they. I mean, this is definitely happening more than it happened last year. Now the question is, did the government already take into account that factor when they made a guess on how many applications they want to take in the first round?
Right.
That's a
Yeah.
toss of a coin, my friends. Very difficult for me to answer that question. I think they might
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Got my F1 visa interview on 3rd June at Kolkata, bachelor's in criminology in sunny SUNY Buffalo. But hope I got approved. Hope I get approved. Oh,
be.
all the
What is?
best.
Do you have a doubt about this, Muzan? And this is Muzan is of course a long time returning customer. We know exactly.
It doesn't look like there's any other comment. He just
All
needed our
good. We
blessing.
wish you the very best. Now remember, for F1 visa, one of the most important thing is you should look, feel, and talk like a student.
Hmm.
It shouldn't be that you were out of school for 8 years and um, maybe a student of, I don't know, let's say biochemistry, and all of a sudden you want to go into forensic pathology or something like that. The
Hmm.
switch in the field, the long gap may militate against your chances. But then
Hmm.
again, there are plenty of people who change careers.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And he's going for or he or she. Did we
Criminology.
did we decide what it was? C or I can't
Musan?
remember
I
it.
don't know. Is this? Can you Google what Musan is?
Yeah. I can.
Actually,
Um,
OpenAI has that thing that if you, because they are multimodal now, the latest, the 4.0.
the oh yeah.
So I still think Claude is a better uh, LLM than even this version of.
Mm,
But in any case, you can actually have it on your phone and you can talk with it, a full conversation. Even that's one of the things Sam Altman said. He says, what I like the best about this version is that I can be working on something and I can talk to my phone at the same time. And, this
mm.
goes on without me having to pick up the phone, interrupt what I'm doing. I don't know
Yeah.
how big an advantage that is, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I know
Yeah.
that I am paying for every damn AI I can find.
Nice. Cool. All right. Sai is a good friend. Is there any problem if we don't sign on STEM OPT I-20 and upload it in the application for STEM OPT extension?
If it requires a signature sign, that is just common sense. You will have to sign, right? So if you say
Mm.
without signature, why would you want to do that? Did you do it by mistake? If you did by mistake, correct it now.
And there should be no issues to correct it.
No.
Yeah.
And they have that option of uploading unsolicited documents. You can put it in that.
Mm.
But do
Nice.
check with your DSO in case something needs to be changed in your I-20.
Hmm. Okay. If I need to renew H1, do I need to first file DS-160 and then schedule a Dropbox appointment with
Yeah.
Delhi consulate?
Yeah. So basically, if you're eligible for Dropbox, you fill out the DS-160 and they tell you what the rest of the process is. It's not hidden. It's quite revealed and well known.
Mm,
So you
mm,
shouldn't have any trouble with that. The process is
mm.
straightforward.
Nice. I have 1 year gap, though I went to college here for a year, but it does not incline towards my long term goal. So I'm going to Buffalo. Is it good to convince?
So what I got from that mistake is um, you have
I
1 year
know.
gap in your school. Were you doing something else? For example, were you working? Taking a year off school to go to work is a very common thing in the US.
Hmm.
So it's, in fact, I recommend it to many people, people who finished uh, law school and they want to, let's say, do a master's degree in law, I would always say first go get some experience. It's
Hmm.
good to know what is out there and what you like and what you don't like. So, taking 1 year off, as long as that year was applied towards the overall goals, it should be okay. But I don't know what your situation is, Mr.
Nice.
Yuri, you were going to set up a community of some kind, weren't you? What is going on with that?
It's still behind the scenes. I'm like developing the
Yeah,
back end of it.
set it up. I think it would help a lot of people. Um,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Yep. All right. First one is graduated with both MS and PhD in December 2022. Applied OPT and STEM OPT through PhD I-20. Not selected yet for H-1B. Can I apply for OPT and STEM OPT based on master's degree when my current STEM OPT will be about to expire?
I don't think so because you have a combined master's and PhD degree, right? So check with your DSO. I've never even thought about this situation. Um, why can't you just go with an MS degree if you can get a separate I-20 endorsed for that? Um, you probably could, and you could also then get a PhD if it is possible. I don't know if it is. It's a
Hmm.
logistical issue. Talk with your DSO if they can give you an I-20 completion first for masters. Then after you are done with that, another one for PhD. I think it's unlikely. I'll tell you why. Because there's
Hmm.
a practical problem. You have to apply for the OPT within a certain days of graduating. So if you have already graduated last year, how does that apply? It sounds to be
Yeah.
counterintuitive.
Yeah.
But you know
Yeah.
what? Law is full of surprises. Intuition only takes you that far. So I would
Right.
double check. I still double check everything. If I'm doubtful
Hmm.
a little bit about something, I like to double check.
Hmm. Hmm. All right, Lakshman is here. I'm towards my end of post OPT 6/2024. I recently ended my contract job and I got a new job. Shall I consider premium processing or shall I use?
Yeah, I
Oh,
think you should do premium processing, Lakshmanji.
okay.
I would do the. Oh no,
Well,
he's saying he's going from OPT to STEM OPT. Use 180 days, absolutely. So what you could do is wait until about 3 4 months, and if nothing has come through, then premium it. You can premium pending case also.
hmm. Okay. Nice. My H-1B petition got approved last week with change of status. My start date with the company is in July. Now, if I lose my job before October 1st, do I lose my F1 OPT as well?
So if you lose your job and your company withdraws your H1B before October 1st, for sure you are back in the lottery. You've lost all advantage of that. But if the company does not revoke until after October 1st, assuming that your change of status begins on October 1st, I think there is some argument that you keep your H1B and you can transfer to another employer after October 1st.
What about F1 OPT? Can he go back?
He can. The only problem is when he wants to go back and reclaim his OPT, the school will not do it, will not reinstate his service unless they have a formal withdrawal acceptance by the government. And that can take many months. Okay, so you have applied for a change of status. After October
Hmm.
1st, you cannot. But and then the employer said, okay, we are withdrawing the case. And you go, wait a minute, if you are withdrawing, I want to get back onto STEM OPT.
Hmm.
And the service people will say no, not until we have formal withdrawal acceptance by the USCIS.
Hmm.
And in the meantime,
So then, what status then you are in? This
nobody
weird.
knows. Nobody knows.
Okay.
You are in suspense status and you're probably losing out on those 150 days. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm. All right. My H-1B start date is October 1st, and my petition is filed once the petition is approved. How much my employer could delay my departure beyond October 1st from India? And once I'm in US, how early I should apply for my parents' B1, B2? I mean, when is it safe to apply so that they don't get rejected?
Okay, so how long can the employer delay? There is no limit on that, uh, except that it has to be a rule of reason. I mean, if they want to delay you 1 year, that probably would looked upon by the government with great deal of suspicion. Although I had a case in which somebody joined a year and a half later, but this company actually had a sister company in India, and the guy was finishing up his project in India, and the US project was not ready. It was the project with the school system.
But he
So
doesn't lose the 1 year, right? Yeah.
next time you can recapture it when you do an extension.
Hmm. Okay.
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 So can they delay it? Sure. Can they delay it if they don't have a project? That could be objectionable. The government could say, well, and then you shouldn't have filed an H-1B if you didn't have a project.
Hmm.
There was another question there, wasn't there?
When should they apply for
Oh, B1.
parents?
Yeah. So the later the better, Rahman Sab. So,
Hmm. Yeah. A startup is offering equity. Does equity count in the compensation of first time OPD?
yeah, that's what government has said. But
Yeah.
here is the tricky part, and I wrote an article on this. If you again Google my name, Rajiv S. Khanna, Economic Times, I said there are questions that are unanswered. How do you value equity? Because equity in a company that's still developing and has no market value per se, how do you value the equity? So my
Hmm.
guess would be a good faith estimate of what the price is or what the benefit is or the dollar value of the company stock is would probably be okay as long as it is applied across the board for both non-immigrant, and local employees.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's how they do all the valuation when they go for fundraising.
It's always tricky how these valuations are done. I am not an expert in stock evaluation, but common sense says that these are tricky things. You're
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
making guesses. I mean, Donald Trump's company is worth X billion dollars when they are going, several million dollars in loss every year, and there's such a small user base. I don't know how Wall Street works. When I
Yeah.
grow up, one day I might find out. I'm too young to understand this.
Yes. Yes. All right. Do visa officers check your past F1 visa details if applying for new F1 visa for PhD?
Probably.
Yes,
Um,
they do.
I mean, if you are asking about your history of denials, of course. And you have to reveal it too because there's a question in the DS 160.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. What is the approximate time to receive perm number when applying employment based card India born?
What is POM? What is POM number? And EB1 doesn't require POM.
Hmm.
Parth, you need to clarify your questions. Um, I'm not sure what POM number is.
Okay.
Swapna Mayuri or Mavuri.
Maori. What is the process to convert H4 to H1 for someone who already has H1 before? Can he travel to India during the conversion of this phase?
Well,
H1 to
can,
H4?
anybody can travel, but then they'll have to get an H1 visa stamp to come back or come back on H4 and again apply for conversion from H4 to H1, which is crazy.
Hmm.
So either stay put or go to India, wait for the H1 to be approved, get the H1B visa stamp and come back.
And what's the process to convert?
That's the same as anybody here. You apply to the USCIS, the employer applies to the USCIS,
Hmm.
just like
Okay.
any other H1.
So you just get the job and then they will apply on your behalf. Yep.
Mhm.
Okay, got it. Cool. Is working in an educational affiliated hospital considered as an on campus employment?
I do not know the answer to that question. Never have to
Hmm.
deal with that. Check with your DSO. If they say it is, then it is.
Okay. Can someone ask for donations or gifts on their YouTube channel while while on F1 visa?
Probably
Um,
not.
yeah, it's funny how like different ways they ask the same question. All
But
right,
the
I
funniest thing is when somebody is consulting me, doing a consultation, and there's an answer, a particular answer they want. And for example, if they've committed something I consider to be fraud, I'll say, that's misrepresentation. Yeah, but if I did that, and then what do you? I said, no matter which way you put it, I would love to tell you a lie and say you are fine, but as a, truth is that there's a problem here.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah. All right. I got an interview call from Google for an associate product manager, university graduate. Currently working as an SDA intern and don't know much about product manager. Can you
that's
help me?
you.
Oh,
That's you, dude.
I thought he had a
Immigration.
question.
No.
Balaji, please reach out to me. You just email me and then we can go from there.
Yeah.
All right. I had my change of status from F1 to H1B in October 2023. Employer A. Currently, I'm switching jobs to employer B. As of now, B has filed change of employer petition and I have a receipt number. Now, if A comes to know that I'm planning to leave, if they revoke my current H1B, would there be trouble for me?
No, there is no trouble because you already have an H-1B pending. You can simply join the new employer because you have the receipt, or you can sit at home and I don't know, smoke hookah and watch FIFA or whatever you like.
Got it. Okay, so yeah, this always I never switched my jobs on H1B, so I never had to go through this
Yeah,
process. So
that's called
what?
job portability. So once a transfer has been filed, you can
Hmm,
actually join the employer um, upon receipt. So the new
okay.
employer.
So I like he said I was working for company A, company B. I loved this company B, and I worked. They file transfer of receipt, and I haven't yet joined it, and so I'm waiting for them. And
Yeah,
then they say like, "Hey, here's your receipt." At that point of time, company A
you
cannot
can-
do anything.
Actually,
Okay.
as soon as your papers are received by the USCIS, you are safe.
Mm,
Now,
gotcha.
safe, uh, assuming that your H-1B will get approved. If it doesn't get approved, then we've got a problem, right?
What could be the reason for not getting approved if it's already
Oh, there's a
approved
million
for?
reasons. For example, you could have applied for a job of a market research analyst where the degrees are not clear, or
Mm,
you could have applied for a job where we're not sure where you really fall, data
mm,
analyst. It depends. So there are so many ways. You don't
okay.
have enough documentation of your own education.
Mm,
You have a degree, 3-year degree, BCom from India, but you don't have enough experience to qualify for experience plus education exception.
mm. But wouldn't that all already be validated for company
No,
A?
not
No.
necessarily. It happens
Okay.
all the time that government approved the first case by mistake. Yeah. Yesterday, I had a case where
So weird.
somebody has been working on H-1B for 2 years, and the government wants to go back and revoke the H-1B because 2 years ago he had multiple lotteries.
Mm. Wow. Okay, I'm selected for H1B lottery this year. Currently, I'm in India as my STEM OPT has ended in February, and my company has transferred me to India office.
Go
Oh,
for it,
there's a,
Neva. You can apply.
what would be my next? What would be the next steps if H1B gets approved and I'm filing out of country applicant under
Yeah,
consular processing?
yeah. You might get an interview waiver if you are applying from your home country. You have never had a denial of your visa, and you've received at least one visa approval. Whether or
Hmm.
not you traveled on that doesn't matter.
Hmm. Nice. Um. Sorry, I lost my questions. He's saying I missed his question. Seva, can you post your questions again? What is the easiest pathway to to green card from H1B? Can it be converted to O1? Don't know what to be stuck for 100 years. Don't want to be stuck for 100 years.
Well, EB1A is the category to shoot for, or EB1C or EB1B. EB1 category. That's what you should shoot for if possible. Can you be converted to O1? Sure. But what is the point of that? H1B extensions, because green card has been filed, are just as effective. O1
Hmm.
is a temporary visa, it doesn't get you a green card.
Hmm. And is it truly 100 years? No, right?
That's the calculation from the Cato researchers. They did the math. I think the math is a little oversimple, but I can't. These guys are professional statisticians. They're very good at what they do.
Hmm.
But in my view, you have all these blips, right? You will all of a sudden all categories become current immediately. You file 485. So then you're well on your way to being free, because once your 480 I-140 is approved, 485 is filed and pending 180 days, you can change jobs
Hmm. Hmm.
without losing your green card. So
Yeah. Is it recommended to apply for EB1B than EB1A if company agrees to sponsor for a
yeah,
PhD and a research-based industry?
EB1Bs are easier because you have to meet 2 out of 8 criteria instead of 3 out of 10.
Hmm.
So yeah, EB1Bs tend to be easier.
Nice. Cool. When my H1B change of employer petition is being processed, am I, and if I'm applying for Canada, there
No,
is no.
no impact just because you have applied for a transfer and you're also applying for tourist visa to Canada. No impact.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay, Muzan, I graduated class 12 in 2022, and during that time, I have done some certification. Also joined a bachelor's degree, but I don't like the course. That's why I'm going to pursue.
It looks like a reasonable journey, Mizan. I mean, it's not like you're as old as UD. We are about the same age, you and I, just out of high school. So
Right. That's right. That is right.
one
I
or two
like
years
that.
there, you've done certifications,
I
etc.
just wish I had the same wisdom as
Of
you
course,
have.
me too. I wish I had. One of my friends says, "You make stuff up as you go along. You have no idea what you're talking about." So, yeah,
All right. This is Deepthi. I hope you remembered me. Okay. We connected on LinkedIn regarding my query. First of all, sorry. Okay. Sorry. I was working on H1B visa in USA until July 2023, and I moved back to India due to personal reasons. I'm working for with a different employer in India. My H1B visa expired in September 2023. Now, my query is, if I ever want to go back to US, then do I need to go through lottery process again?
once you have been outside USA for 1 year and you had an H1B before, you have two options. You can either get back the entire 6 years of H1B but go through the lottery again, or after 5, 10 years, you want to just recapture the time you have not yet spent on H1B. So if you were here for 4 years, then you left and are outside for 1 year, you could take the remainder 2 years and not be subject to the lottery.
Hmm.
It's called the remainder
Mm,
option.
nice.
Or you could go through the lottery, get whole 6 years back.
Yeah. Right. If EB2 national interest waiver approved and I get priority date, what
Yeah.
advantage?
Yeah. So let's say the EB1 is backed up 4 years. Okay. And you get your NIW approved today. That means your priority date was the date I filed the I-140 or you filed the I-140, right? Let's say that was done in 2023. So if 3 years later you become eligible for EB1A, your priority date of the national interest waiver will be applied to your EB1A. That means you could theoretically get your green card right away, right?
Hmm.
Instead of waiting another 3, 4 years, which the people who do not have a priority date to transfer have to wait.
Hmm. 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 Oops, sorry, I missed the question. My sibling is going to US via F1. Will that cause problem for my H1B?
You may cause problems for your sibling if you are here on H1B, but it's the converse is not true.
Yeah,
H1B is a solid visa.
nice. My current employer A had a change of name recently when I asked for.
That
That's
should
okay.
be okay. Yeah, and I would take a letter from the lawyer uh, confirming the name change, etc., with an attachment of the a name change.
Yeah, asking if I have a press release. Do I need
That's not.
that?
Why would you have a press release? If let's say you're a small company, you're not gonna get into all these press releases and stuff. So press release is not a necessary document. It's just nice.
Hmm. Okay. How good are chances of getting F1 visa renewed? doing a second master's in day one CPT university versus PhD in the
For
same day
CPT,
one.
May, is it possible to do an F1 visa? I don't know the answer to that question. It's a toss of
Hmm.
a coin.
Hmm. Laid off in H1B, applied for B1, B2. I want to switch to F1, but in the process of school application and no I-120 yet. Is it better to go back to H1B then switch to F1, or can I directly switch from B1, B2?
I don't see any fundamental difference between the two. So your call. You want to go directly from B to F, that's okay. You want to go from B to H to F, that's okay too.
Mm. Okay. All right. Hello, Yuri, and namaskar, Judy. I like difference. I'm working on STEM OPT. I have full-time job, and my company mentioned that they are not for-profit health insurance organization. So, is my company eligible for uh,
No,
H1B CAM exam?
non-profit research or non-profit affiliated with higher education.
Hmm. Got it. My university is asking me to talk to my future employer. Full time starts 6:10. Can you explain how can my employer fill out I-983 for STEM extension before I join?
There's no law that says you have to have already joined them. They can fill it out. It's done all the time.
Hmm. Okay. Started masters in 2021 due to bad market. Set to graduate in fall 2024. Visa expires in 2026. Will this situation, 3 years masters and 6 months to graduate, cause any issues to travel and come back?
Traveling, Samirji, is always uncertain. What the Customs and Border Protection want to make an issue at the border is impossible to predict. So until you get an H1B, I would avoid travel if you can.
Mm. Okay. I am in United States. My problem is my mom allowed an agent to file DS-160 on my behalf and book an interview for me. Recently, the agent is telling me to file an F2. What do I do?
What is he?
Hmm.
What status is he on?
Yeah. Stephen,
Even we
let me
don't have
know.
all the information we need.
Yeah. Does online master's quota apply for H1B master's cap? What are the terms and conditions? From where can we get this degree assessed, if that applies or not?
Yeah. So to qualify for a master's degree quota, I believe it has to be a public university or one of those non-profit universities. I don't remember all the details off the top of my head, and it has to be an accredited university. Okay.
Hmm.
Accreditations, you can ask the school uh, who accredits you, and it'll be some kind of a state agency. Then you can go online, just do a Google search for um, list of or database of accredited institutions, US Department of Education. You'll come to the database, enter the name of the university. It'll tell you what the accreditations are.
Hmm.
And the school can also confirm that.
Hmm. Nice. I got laid off 20 days before my OPT end date. My STEM OPT was not filed. What should I do?
You got to find an employer to file the STEM OPT because you have a deadline. Otherwise, you go back to school or B1, B2, or go to India.
Hmm.
You can't work in what
Okay.
CPT is an option, I guess, if you can roll over to curricular practical training.
After graduation?
Yeah, new course. So
Oh,
he's
new
still on
course. Okay.
STEM. He's still on OPT. OPT is still a continuation of F1. So is STEM OPT.
F1.
So the
Okay,
service can be
got it.
rolled over.
Hmm. Got it. Okay, nice. Follow up regarding applying OPT based on MS degree after I
Yeah,
checked with DSO and DSO told
yeah,
me.
yeah. Jason, this is what I think the problem is. The problem is you have a deadline, like I think, what is it, within 60 days of graduation and 90 days before graduation, something like that. So if
Mhm.
you get an OPT for first year under master's degree, your PhD deadline would be gone. You won't be able
Hmm.
to meet that deadline, the graduation within graduation, unless you had some courses remaining on PhD, which could be delayed. So I think there is a practical issue, and I don't think you would qualify. You can always have the DSO talk to the USCIS and to SEVIP, and you can also call SEVIP yourself.
Hmm. Hmm. Can I do freelancing jobs on Upwork or Fiverr during my STEM OPD?
No,
STEM OPD, yeah. First year OPD, can they?
might be, as long as he can demonstrate that he was billing for at least 20 hours each week.
Mm, okay, and it's related to the education. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. If someone has completed 12 months of OPT for a master's degree but did not utilize the STEM OPT extension and then decides to pursue another master's degree, can they still use the remaining 12 months, 24 months?
So theoretically, yes, but practically, no. I'll tell you why. Because in order to get, and this is weird, I mean, I think it's a very odd mm, quirk in the law. In order to get STEM OPT extension, you have to be on OPT. You have
Hmm.
already used your first year OPT. When you do a second master's degree, you no longer have an OPT. So then how do you get STEM OPT extension? Okay.
Hmm.
So again, please double check with the DSO. That's the way I read the regulations. To me, it was like, I don't think you can get a STEM OPT extension if you don't have any OPT.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah.
If you went to PhD, of course, then you would have OPT as well as STEM OPT.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. How much is the minimum wage that we are supposed to get as a compensation when doing a job in STEM OPD? If my company allows at least 20 hours a week, part time job, and pays $5 a week,
Oh,
is
there is a website. It's changing actually. For now, it's flcdatacenter.com.
yeah.
You go there, you go through their process and select the state and the county that you'll be working in and the job title. That tells you what the prevailing wage is. $5 a week or even $5 an hour is below the minimum wage. That can never pass
Yeah. What kind of
unless
job
you
is
have
that?
alternate compensation. You know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
and it can't be a kiss on a cheek. It's got to be something more than that. Why? Here's the alternate compensation. That's not it. You need to have something tangible to show.
Right. Okay. Follow up in this like last 5 minutes. Since going back to OPT isn't a good idea, can I let my H1B start and then transfer it? Firstly, will it
Yeah, yeah,
begin?
absolutely. Work a couple of pay periods with the employer, then transfer it.
Mm,
We talked about that a few times.
yeah. Yeah. All right. You mentioned that someone's H1B got revoked because they had multiple lotteries 2 years back.
Yeah.
Can you please share more
So
details?
I received a call. I usually don't take calls on Friday. That's my day to catch up with all my pending work. But I did one call yesterday. The new employer was very worried because the old employer received a call from and a visit from the USCIS who said, well, um, this guy was working for you. He's already transferred over to a new employer. And then while in conversation, they revealed that they were thinking of revoking the case because he had multiple entries. So this was, I
Hmm.
think, about 2 years ago that he got it. So he's been working on H1B for 2 years and even transferred employers.
Hmm.
So should you worry? Well, you should always have a backup plan. If this, then
Okay.
that.
Worried. I'm under in last
Yeah.
3 year. Yeah.
See, if the three companies were completely unrelated, Shah Saab, you're okay. But this company was actually related. This company's
Hmm.
owner or the majority stockholder had 10% stock in the other company also that applied. And they said, it's
Hmm.
just 10%. He's never not involved. I said, well, that's still, you can make that argument to the government, but I think that's still a problem.
Hmm. Okay. What is the reason my wife employer is not filing her I-140 and H4 EAD under premium as they say they are getting RFEs?
Yeah, so then you've answered your own question.
just because they are getting RFEs, they don't want to
That's what they
file.
say. Is there any basis in fact? No.
Hmm. Should I be pushing my employer for EB1A rather than H1B?
You can do EB1A yourself. And
Hmm.
if you are India born, EB1A is not a substitute for H1B. It'll take you 4 years, 5 years to get a green card. You can't work in the meantime. So
Hmm.
H1B is not the same thing. It's not the same remedy.
Hmm.
So
Nice.
apply for H1B anyway.
All right. I got an RFE for STEM extension, but I'm still waiting for the mail and have not received any updates. Can you please give me idea what are the things I should be expecting preparing for it?
Well, this is not really like preparing for a trek in the Himalayas where you start exercising beforehand. This is whatever they ask for, and most of these documents tend to be easy documents, Disha. They shouldn't be that difficult to procure.
Hmm.
ये कोई संजीवनी बूटी नहीं है जिसके लिए हनुमान जी चाहिए आपको.
Right. Okay. I got laid off on in Disha. Like if there are questions once you receive it, please join one
Yeah.
of the Saturday session and we can answer. Um, I got laid off on L1B. What are the options available?
Imran Saab, I think you have a 60-day grace period just like everybody else. So
Hmm.
then you have B1, B2 option, then you have the same student visa option. Um,
So can so let's say in L1B 60 days plus B1 B2 ka 180 days,
yeah.
and in that if they get a job, do they
Well,
can they go back
he
to
doesn't have
L1B?
H1B, na. So L1B
Huh.
is only available within the same group of companies. So if he was working for Tata Consultancy, and there's another opening in Tata Consultancy, that can be converted to an L1B. But if it's an opening in
Like
uh,
Google
Google or even another Indian company, give me another Indian company, like Mahindra Tech,
info.
for example,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
Infosys. Okay,
yeah.
you can't do an L1B for them because they're not a part of the same group of companies.
Mm,
You must have worked outside USA for 1 year for this company, and you
mm,
won't qualify because you have not worked for Mahindra Tech or for Infosys. So you can't be
interesting.
in the same group of companies.
Okay. Mm. So that's worse than H1B then, I
And
guess.
definitely, L1B is far more restrictive.
Mm, okay. I'm on F1 visa, and the agent who files my
Oh my
DS-160
God,
on
absolutely not, Stephen. Get rid of this damn agent. Report him to the government because he's telling you to do something which could bar you from entering the United States forever. Don't even go
Mm,
near this guy.
mm. Okay. I'm posting behalf of my friend. He's working with two employers in initial OPT, and recently he got H1B with second employer. And now the second employer asking all available I-20s to process with
Yeah,
H1B
you have to
petition.
you have to give them if that's what you want.
Okay. Is he submit only student OPT I-20 without employer history or all of it?
He's got to submit all the I-20s.
Mm, okay. All right. I have 12 years of experience as a manager in automotive manufacturers in India in after sales domain and had open heart surgery 2 years back. Does it help in my process faster?
No.
No. Okay. All right. We'll do one last question. I'm on OPT ending next month. When my STEM OPT starts, I want to work for startups. Can you please explain more on what modes of payment can I accept?
So,
Bonds, some.
Vishalji, what government, again, look at my article that I wrote, which is, if you Google my name, Rajiv as Khanna, Economic Times, I wrote about the alternate compensation option. Basically, the idea is if they are paying all their existing employees, similar terms should be applied to you, and those would be acceptable. And typically, that's equity, some kind of stock. You won't
Mm,
get bonds. Nobody gives bonds to employees
mm, mm.
because bond is a
Yeah,
debt. Bond is a guarantee of a debt. Okay,
yeah, yeah,
they won't give you
yeah.
bond.
Like a stock.
Yeah, they might
Most
give
likely.
you, depending upon the classifications they have, they might give you non-voting stock, which has ownership but no control.
Mm, mm. All right. I think that was it. Thank you, Rajivji. We will talk next week, and I'll keep you posted on the community path.
Yeah, yeah, sure, absolutely.
Um, I'm excited. Cool.
Good
All
luck,
right.
guys.
Thank
Take
you,
care.
everyone. Yep. Bye.